I think developers are tired of making BRs and they're looking for a new genre of game to really start developing for. You can only expand upon the BR rule set so much. I like to see Battlestate team up with a AAA developer. Tarkov has so many possibilities. It does. I think Tarkov needs to be on an Unreal Engine or something like that. And that's why BRs will continue to be successful and continue to be the game that everyone's playing right now, is because gamers are fucking cheap. But again, we're going back to that whole accessibility thing, right? You want your game to be accessible, but at the same time be like you want the higher end players to feel satisfied. Is it bad to say Tarkov was my first PC mouse and keyboard experience? Oh man, that is definitely trial by fire right there. Holy shit. Hey, welcome to PC gaming. Enjoy the dick punch. Chat, I want to see a AAA developer bring out a Tarkov style a Tarkov style game. Like, Tarkov is dope. Tarkov is very, very cool. But I think it could be more. I feel like there is definitely more that they could do if they had the money to produce that. I think, and what I would like to see, this is a AAA game developer design a hardcore survival game like Tarkov. The only reason why I say that is because I think personally that survival shooter games like that, like Tarkov, are going to be the next new thing. Yeah, BRs have been a thing for what, chat? What do we want to say? The last 4 or 5 years or so. I don't remember when PUBG. When did PUBG first come out, chat? 5 years? Yeah, so about 5 years. So I don't think BRs are going to be popular much longer. I think what would need to happen is that a new style of game, hardcore looter shooter or something like that. Like DayZ. DayZ was super popular back in the day. Tarkov, very popular currently. And I really feel like that survival shooters like that are going to be the next new hotness. I think developers are tired of making BRs and they're looking for a new genre of game to really start developing for. And I really think like looter shooter style games, especially like hardcore survival games, are going to start really picking up and taking off. BRs are getting seriously dull. Yeah, because I mean, like, you can only expand upon the BR rule set so much and really make it your own. I think Apex did a really good job of like diversifying in the BR genre, like the whole like having the ability to respawn teammates, having a class system, things like that. But even then, I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, it's still very much so a BR. And how many BRs are you going to play and grind out before you feel like you've played them all? But the way that it goes is that as long as developers continue to roll out free-to-play battle royales, then people are going to continue playing them only because they're free. I mean, they aren't $140 like Tarkov. Well, that's the thing is, like, it needs, so a survival game like that needs a lower cost entry point to be successful. I don't think a survival looter shooter will do well it being free to play. I do think that if you made it like $20, then people would, like, you'd get way more people to play it. I don't think a survival looter shooter could work out to be free to play. I just don't. I don't know how that would work. I like to see Battlestate team up with a AAA developer. Tarkov has so many possibilities. It does. I think Tarkov needs to be on an Unreal Engine or something like that. I think their engine is, like, the stuff that they're working on right now currently is old and outdated. I think that if the game was on Unreal, it would perform way better. And also, remember, it needs to be able to run on consoles as well. You need to have a looter shooter game that is really fun and has like in-depth, has like super in-depth mechanics and things like that. But at the same time, it also needs to be accessible. And that's where Tarkov really fails. And it's not, I mean, it's not their fault in the slightest. I mean, I think they have a great game, and it's they have a phenomenal game, but it'll, like, I really have a hard time believing that that'll ever run well on a console setup unless you have mouse and keyboard. And like, you're not gonna be able to do that on a controller. The inventory management alone is just too difficult. I don't want it to be cheap. There's already enough problems with hackers. The base $40, right? But at the same time, remember, it needs to be accessible, right? That's why Fortnite did so well. That's why COD. That's why Warzone continues to do really, really well, is because it's a free-to-play game. It has a low, extremely low entry point. And that's why BRs will continue to be successful and continue to be the game that everyone's playing right now, is because gamers are fucking cheap. Everybody wants the latest and greatest, the best thing in the world, but they don't want to pay for it. And unfortunately, free-to-play games cater to that mentality of, I want it now, and I don't want to pay money for it. Like, I've always been the one to, like, even when I was a kid, like, I never got, like, all the latest and greatest stuff. Like, gaming was never was a privilege for us. You know, it wasn't something that we expected to have. Like, I mean, I grew up with an N64 until I was like, N64 was my gaming console until I was like 15, and then I saved up enough money to build a computer. And even that computer wasn't even all that great. It was a Frankenstein rig from a couple of old computers from my grandparents' furniture store, and then I just slowly, like, continued to upgrade it until I was able to, like, actually have a real gaming PC. Oh, it's super cheap entertainment. 100%. I agree. With the return on investment that you get for the return that you get for overall time spent versus money spent, like, it's way more than you'd get out of a 2-hour movie. And if you take you and your wife, or you and your significant other, or, you know, whatever, husband, or, you know, whatever, you know, you're gonna be spending $50, $60 on between the tickets and the popcorn and the drink and all that shit. And that was 2 hours versus you spend, you know, $60 on a game and you can play it until, you know, you either 100% it, or, you know, a game like this, or you just keep on grinding and you can get hundreds of hours into it. I think for the grind that is Kappa, it needs to either last longer than a wipe or be bigger. I don't see it worth or make a grind less. Well, also, and the quests are stupid. Like, I those Jaeger quests of, like, being concussed or being flashed or, like, whatever, that, like, all those weird ones, like, it makes you play a really, really weird way that nobody would play as, and so you get punished by the guys who are the mega chads who just don't care. Yeah, I don't like the being concussed, yeah, and then killing, like, PMCs, or even like the Shooter Born in Heaven quest is an absolute pain in the dick. And you have to play a certain way, and then you get punished for it. And I get it. I mean, I know that's the way that they want the game to be. They want their game to be punishing. But again, we're going back to that whole accessibility thing, right? You want your game to be accessible, but at the same time be like you want the higher end players to feel satisfied. But I think it could be possible, dude. I wholeheartedly believe that a AAA developer could come in into the hardcore looter shooter genre that Tarkov inhabits, and they could create a really, really cool experience. You know, and a game doesn't ultimately have to be like Tarkov. You know, you can still have you know, looter shooters that are punishing if you die, and it could still be accessible. You know, like the whole, like, you know, Tarkov is insane. You know, when it comes down to, like, building out your guns and the different ammo types and stuff. For, you know, for some people, like, they want to have that Tarkov experience, but then they don't want to have to deal with the complexity of the systems that are in place. And I totally understand that. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, man, I wish I could get into Tarkov, but it's just like, how many total keybinds are there in Tarkov? Way too many to count. like there's ones for step outs, there's ones for slow leans, there's ones for checking your mag, there's one for racking your gun and ejecting a bullet. Yeah, there's keybinds that then also work with other keybinds. There's keybinds to, like, change your lasers. There's keybinds to do all different kinds of things, man. It's absolutely nuts. Which again makes it really, really attractive for someone who wants that, like, hardcore, you know, shooter experience. Is it bad to say Tarkov was my first PC mouse and keyboard experience? Oh man, that is definitely trial by fire right there. Holy shit. Hey, welcome to PC gaming. Enjoy the dick punch. I don't know. I think that a AAA developer could do a console version. It's not with Tarkov though. You're not like, I really don't think Tarkov would ever feel right on a controller. I think you can have a similar game, you know, that hardcore looter shooter experience and minimize the overall complexity of the mechanics to make looting more efficient and to make the experience overall more enjoyable for someone who's on a controller, and still have it very punishing and have it very hardcore feeling, etc. In Tarkov's current state, I think the overall experience would be watered down if they tried to make it work on console with a controller. The only way that I still fervently believe that the only way that you could play Tarkov on the console, it's not the porting the game that's the issue, you know, to actually get it run on a console. The issue is all of the small mechanical things that work within the game. I.e. checking mags, you know, the different types of leaning, you know, laying down and prone and then leaning over, changing your reticles, having multiple reticles or different scopes on the guns themselves, you know, having canted sight and then a sniper scope, etc., etc. I don't think with how a controller is, with the amount of keybinds that you need in order to do all the different things, I don't think it works. And I don't think it can work. The only way that it could work is if you, again, were playing with mouse and keyboard on a controller. And at the end of the day, you know, some gamers, you know, they don't want to play with mouse and keyboard on their controller. They want to play with a controller sitting on their couch and still have a really fun gaming experience. I could see like an expanded State of Decay with PvP added. I really think that we could see a new, you know, like hardcore looter shooter in the next year or so. I think a lot of game developers were paying attention to the successfulness of Tarkov when the Twitch Prime stuff was going on at the beginning of the year. I think a lot of people were paying attention and saw how profitable and how enjoyable and how much people enjoy watching and being like, you know, and learning about Tarkov and seeing it for the first time. So yeah, I think game developers would be silly to not go down that road. They added more particle effects here, with all like the him being like kind of shrouded in the clouds and stuff, like in this smoke cloud. State of Decay is the only reason I want to get an Xbox. I played State of Decay 2 and I didn't like it. I played it for like 2 or 3 hours and it was I was playing with Kevin and we had a terrible time. Yeah, I mean, like it would be cool if there was more of a story to it, but like I understand. Again, that's why I think like if you get a AAA developer involved, I think that would be a more fleshed out experience. Like Tarkov is definitely onto something. They just need like they're working on a game that's, you know, 5 years old. You know, Tarkov's been around for a while. You know, could you imagine a Tarkov on a new Unreal Engine or like a Frostbite engine, like what Battlefield is on? Holy shit, dude. Man, the time just melts away, dude, playing Destiny. I love it. And we always have such great conversations, chat. We always have awesome conversations while playing Destiny. I love it. Tarkov is the future. It might not be Tarkov, but I definitely think a Tarkov-style game is the future. I wholeheartedly believe that BRs are on their way out. I really, really feel like the Battle Royale genre is kind of like it's finished its cycle. You know, it definitely has normalized. You know, it's not the big thing that it was when Fortnite came out. You know, all of that has really like slowed down. And you know, we had the big Minecraft boom. We had the Fortnite boom. And you know, gaming works in cycles. You know, it's always cyclical as to like what is going to be popular, and I always feel like it's a 5-year cycle, you know, give or take. So I really feel like we're coming up on the time for the next new thing, especially as like next gen consoles, you know, are here. You know, gaming is advancing. You know, new things are showing up. That's how I feel about it. That's how I'm reading the market. That's how I'm seeing things. I think something that ruined it is when Fortnite was at its peak, it was updating weekly. So when games like Warzone stay the same and the map and whatnot, it's just drawing people in as much. I mean, that could be true, Squatch. I also think that we're reaching a burnout. You know, the people who, you know, were playing a lot of Fortnite at the beginning, you know, don't touch it anymore. You know, they pulled Fortnite from the iPhone, from Apple Store. You know, like there's a reason why like people like playing Among Us and watching Among Us content. It's like the number one downloaded app on the App Store. You know, like everyone's able to play it. Again, this is all coming back to the accessibility thing. You know, a lot of people need to be able to play the game, and that's why people can, you know, that's why people, you know, love Among Us and why Among Us is so popular on YouTube right now, or even on Twitch. It's a very, very popular game. And it's very simplistic. It's very easy to watch. You know, you watch, it's just like a battle royale in that sense of you can tune in for one round. You can make a video off of one really cool round of Among Us. You know, it's also become kind of like a cultural thing. You know, the whole like, you know, being sus, or, you know, like you can meme it up. You know, you can make, you know, really fun memes and stuff out of it. People understand, like there's merchandise all over the place. You know, as much as the people who run Among Us don't want people making merch, like there's people making merch. I mean, it kind of reminds me to a certain degree, like the Fortnite hype. You know, like when it first came out, it's a much smaller scale. But I mean, like when you have you know, fucking politicians going on Twitch and playing Among Us, you know, or you've got artists and, you know, musicians and like all these other people that are, you know, big and popular, going on, you know, streams and playing Among Us. Like it's got a cultural effect to it as well. Not to the extent that Fortnite did, but it's definitely there. Jesus Christ, dude, Stasis is wild. Oh my God. A Bungo Prime. That's the one thing that's really annoying about Among Us, is just trying to get everybody's schedules to match up. I think that is a big reason why Among Us will never be like as popular. It's a great party game. It's super fun to play with friends and stuff like that. But like, you just can't like load up Among Us and just like have fun playing it. You know, you can't just like run solos in Among Us, you know. And props to the people who go and play with randoms. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine that, dude. What about a Tarkov mixed with Second Light type game, a hardcore looter shooter, but then a community-based game where you build out a town and home base? I mean, that's like Survive the Night. You know, like that's kind of like what they're doing to a certain degree. You know, there's plenty of games that have tried doing like base building with survival, like looter shooter style stuff. The issue is that the combat's never satisfying, and it's always based around like zombies. Because like to have a game like that where it's like, you know, having a community come together and do base building, you have to like the PvE stuff is always zombies, or Rust. You know, like that's kind of like what Rust is, where it's like you've got like intense. You have like the looter shooter where like you find loot and you do it, and then you get materials and you build a base. But like that's a constant open world experience too, Justin. With Tarkov, it's raid by raid, right? You know, you spend 30 to 45 minutes inside a raid. Whereas like a game like Survive the Night, or even like the DayZ mods, or, you know, 7 Days to Die or 7 Nights or whatever the fuck that game is. Hell, even like the what's the one Backyard game that just had a big update, the Koi Pond update, whatever that game is. That's similar idea, where you're just constantly like in an open world. That's a new one. Never seen that before. Yeah, eat doodoo butts. A purple. Ah, boots. Boots. 1201 boots though. Boggers. Like Tarkov is definitely onto something. They just need like, they're working on a game that's, you know, 5 years old. You know, Tarkov's been around for a while.